The strategic advantage of being underestimated by everyone around you is a certain kind of person who walks into a room and gets dismissed immediately. Quiet, unassuming, easy to overlook. And then, at some point, everyone in that room realizes they made a significant mistake. This video is about that person. And more specifically, about whether you can become that person deliberately. What strategic underestimation actually is, how it has been used by some of the most effective operators in history, and why the instinct you probably have to signal your competence as loudly as possible is often the thing limiting you most. Stay until the end, because the practical application of this is more nuanced than it first appears, and getting it wrong costs more than not doing it at all. Start with why you signal competence in the first place, because the instinct is not irrational. From a very early age, most people learn that being seen as capable produces better outcomes. Better grades, more trust from authority figures, more social standing among peers. The lesson gets reinforced continuously through school, through early career experiences, through every environment that rewards demonstrated ability with recognition and opportunity. By the time you reach adulthood, the habit of broadcasting competence is so deeply wired that it operates automatically. You mention credentials in casual conversation. You correct minor errors that did not need correcting. You signal effort and preparation even when none was required. You manage up constantly, making sure the people who matter know what you contributed and how much it cost you. This is understandable. In many contexts it works. But it also does something that most people do not fully account for. It tells everyone around you exactly what you are capable of, what you care about, and where your limits are. It makes you legible. And legible people are easier to manage, easier to counter, and easier to position against. The person who lets you see their full hand at the start of every interaction has already given away something they cannot get back. Strategic underestimation is not the same as hiding competence out of insecurity or playing small because the environment demands it. Those are different things. And conflating them matters because the psychological starting point is completely different. Deliberate underestimation is a choice made from a position of security. It requires knowing exactly what you are capable of and choosing, consciously, not to lead with it. The person doing it is not shrinking. They are selecting what to reveal and what to withhold based on what serves their actual objectives rather than their need for immediate validation. The distinction shows up clearly in how each version feels from the inside. If you are suppressing competence out of insecurity, you feel relief when you are finally recognized. If you are practicing strategic underestimation, you feel something closer to mild amusement when the recognition arrives. Because the recognition was never the point, that internal difference matters because it determines how sustainable the posture is. Suppressing competence out of fear is exhausting and tends to collapse under pressure. Choosing not to display it from a place of confidence is considerably easier to maintain. Because there is no internal conflict driving it. History is full of people who understood this and used it deliberately. Columbo, the television detective, is a fictional example so well constructed that it functions as a genuine case study. The entire premise of the character is a man who appears bumbling, forgetful, and slightly overwhelmed, asking one more question with his raincoat half falling off. While methodically dismantling every defense the suspect has built, the suspects consistently underestimate him. They find him unthreatening enough to keep talking, and the information they give him while feeling superior is exactly what convicts them. The character worked for decades across hundreds of episodes because the writers understood something true about how people behave when they feel they have the upper hand. The real-world examples are less tidy but carry the same structure. Abraham Lincoln was routinely dismissed by political rivals as an unsophisticated backwoods lawyer with no business running for national office. His opponents did not adjust their assessment until he had outmaneuvered them in ways they had not seen coming, largely because they had not been watching carefully. Ulysses Grant spent years being written off as a failed businessman and undistinguished soldier before demonstrating a strategic clarity that most of his more celebrated contemporaries could not match. In both cases, the underestimation was not something they manufactured, but it was something they understood and did not rush to correct. The pattern runs through competitive environments of all kinds. Negotiators who arrive without the trappings of authority consistently extract better terms than those who signal status immediately. because the counterpart relaxes their guard and reveals more than they intended to. Athletes ranked below their actual ability perform better in early rounds of tournaments because opponents prepare less rigorously. Executives who operate quietly in organizations accumulate influence in ways that visible operators cannot, because nobody is actively working to limit something they have not noticed yet. The practical mechanics of this break into two separate skills, and they require different things from you. The first is managing first impressions. You have probably spent years training yourself to make strong ones, which usually means leading with credentials, confidence, and the most polished version of yourself. Strategic underestimation inverts this. It means arriving without the full display, asking more questions than you answer, showing genuine curiosity about the other person rather than enthusiasm about yourself, and letting the early part of any interaction be defined by listening rather than performing. This is harder than it sounds if you have spent years training the opposite reflex, but the information gathered during that quieter opening is almost always more valuable than any impression made by talking. The second skill is controlling the moment of revelation, because strategic underestimation only pays off if the capability eventually becomes visible, usually at a moment of your choosing rather than theirs. The timing of that reveal is where most of the strategic value lies. Revealing too early collapses back into normal competence signaling. Revealing at the right moment, when the stakes are clear and the underestimation has already shaped the situation in your favor, is what converts the posture into actual leverage. Think about the pieces you have not moved in a chess game. They tell your opponent nothing. The pieces you have moved reveal your thinking. Keeping capability in reserve is not passivity. It is preserving options. There are limits to this, and ignoring them turns a genuine strategy into a liability. The posture works in environments where outcomes matter more than optics. In environments that run on visibility and personal brand, consistent underestimation can result in being genuinely passed over rather than strategically overlooked. There is a real difference between being underestimated by a negotiating counterpart and being underestimated by the person who decides whether you get promoted. Applying the same approach to both without distinguishing between them is a mistake that carries real costs. It also requires enough self-knowledge to know what you are actually working with. If you try this without the capability to back it up, it is not strategy. It is avoidance with a more flattering name, and it requires a level of comfort with delayed recognition that most people find genuinely difficult. The validation that comes from being seen as competent is not a trivial thing to give up, even temporarily. People who try this approach and abandon it usually do so not because it failed, but because the waiting felt like too much. That is worth being honest with yourself about before committing to it. The deeper point underneath all of this is about what competence is actually for. Most people treat capability as something to be demonstrated. The demonstration is the point. Strategic underestimation treats capability as something to be deployed. The deployment is the point. Those two orientations produce very different behaviors, very different relationships with recognition, and very different results over time. If you need to be seen as the smartest person in the room, you have already handed that room a significant amount of power over you. If you genuinely do not need that, you have something considerably harder for anyone else to manage. Being underestimated, when you have chosen it rather than suffered it, is one of the quieter advantages available to you. Most people are too uncomfortable with it to use it for long, which is, of course, exactly what makes it work. If this kind of thinking is worth having in the feed, subscribe. There is more of it. Drop a comment with the concept or strategy worth covering next.